He was sitting in the snow, his shoulders hunched, hands buried deep in his pockets, staring blankly at the frozen ground. The world around him was silent, except for the faint whisper of wind through the bare trees. He thought he was alone, lost in the cold, bitter emptiness of a life that had slipped from his grasp. That's when a soft, trembling voice broke the silence. "You forgot me?" He looked up sharply. Snowflakes clung to his eyelashes, melting and stinging like tiny reminders of his mistakes. And there she was, his daughter, no older than 7, standing there with wide, tearful eyes that reflected a mixture of hope and heartbreak. Memories came rushing back, uninvited and overwhelming, the sound of her laughter, the first time she called him daddy, the countless promises he had made and broken. He opened his mouth, but no words came. How could he explain that he hadn't meant to forget her? How could he admit that life, responsibilities, and mistakes had swallowed him whole? Her little hand reached for his, frostbitten and shaking. "You left, you always left," she whispered, her voice cracking. His chest tightened. Every failure he had carried in silence now stood before him in the fragile form of his child. He remembered that day months ago, when a job opportunity had kept him away from her recital, the way she had waited in the chilly auditorium alone, and the look of disappointment that had haunted him ever since. That night had been the first time she had truly felt the sting of his absence, and he had promised himself it would never happen again. Yet, here he was, tears burned his eyes as he wrapped his arms around her trembling frame. "I didn't forget you," he whispered, voice choked with emotion. "I could never forget you. I got lost, and I'm so sorry." She buried her face in his coat, and for a moment, the cold snow and biting wind didn't matter. Time seemed to stop, letting the father and daughter feel each other's warmth for the first time in what felt like forever. They spent hours there in the snow, talking, crying, and slowly rebuilding the fragile bridge that had been broken by absence and regret. He shared stories he had never told her, stories of his own childhood struggles, dreams, and fears, and she listened, amazed that her father had a life beyond what she knew. She told him about her days, her victories and fears, her little accomplishments that she had waited to share with him. With each word, each confession, their bond grew stronger. He knew that saying sorry once wasn't enough. He had to prove it through actions, through presence, through unwavering love. That night, as they walked home, he made silent promises to himself. He would be there for every recital, every scraped knee, every bedtime story. He would be the father she deserved. And she, sensing the sincerity in his eyes, held his hand tighter, trusting him again. In the following months, he dedicated himself to being present in every moment, big and small. There were challenges, old habits die hard, and life continued to throw obstacles, but he never let work or distraction steal him away from his daughter again. Together, they built new traditions, baking cookies on Sundays, reading bedtime stories, winter walks in the park, even quiet evenings watching the stars. Each day was a testament to forgiveness, resilience, and the power of love to mend wounds thought permanent. One evening, as they sat together watching the snow fall outside, she rested her head on his shoulder and whispered, "I knew you'd come back." His heart ached with both sorrow and joy, and he realized that being a father was about more than presence. It was about showing up, truly, every single time. He looked at her, the small, radiant being who had given him a second chance, and promised silently that he would never let her down again. The story of that winter, the snow, the apologies, the tears, the laughter, is one that stays with him forever. It's a reminder that love, even when strained, can heal if we are willing to fight for it. And if you take one thing from this story, let it be this: never wait for tomorrow to be there for the people you love. Life is unpredictable, time is fleeting, and moments lost can never truly be reclaimed except through the courage to start anew. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you love, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that inspire, heal, and remind us what really matters. Life is full of second chances, And sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one conversation, to change everything. If you want, I can also expand this version into a full YouTube script with exact timestamps, narration cues, and emotional beats, stretching it naturally to fit a 40-minute video with pacing that keeps viewers hooked the whole time. This includes visual suggestions for animation or live-action storytelling. Do you want me to do that next?